Liliana Vess was born in Benalia on the plain of Dominaria to opulent but strict parents, and didn't care for their reputation, so she was never afraid to go against the grain, being a member of the Forward Order under the tutelage of Lady Anna as a cleric, but also practicing necromancy on the side under the logic that knowing how death works would make the healing magic stronger. One day, Liliana's brother Josu caught a magical illness, so Liliana went out to gather Isis roots to cure her brother, but was too late to harvest them. A man approached the young Vess and instructed Liliana to reanimate the Isis roots using necromancy. She then brought them back and used them against Anna's wishes, and after administering Josu with the serum, it worked. He was cured, until he wasn't. Driven insane, poisoned, and reanimated, Josu started to kill his own doctors, and upon realizing what she had done, Liliana's planeswalker spark ignited and she walked to Innistrad, where she studied under vampires and liches. She even dueled Soren Markov and lost, but put up a rather impressive fight. Liliana did inevitably return home to Benalia and found her family home in ruins, and swore revenge on the so-called Raven Man. Liliana then went on to live quite the amazing life after this, full of necromancy and murder. She even attended Strixhaven as a Witherbloom student. At the end of this life, Liliana was an old and post-mending, a mildly weaker planeswalker. Gods no longer, she made a deal with Nicol Bolas and 4 demons, Kothafed, Griselbrand, Razaketh, and Belzenlok, to regain a fraction of her power and her youth in exchange for her servitude. In doing so, Liliana had the very details of her contract etched into her own skin and was then sent to Ravnica, where she met Jace Beleren and helped outmaneuver Tezzeret so Bolas could gain control of the Consortium. From here, Liliana was sent by Kothafed to Shandalar to recover the Chain Veil, where she would gain the Veil, run into Garruk Wildspeaker, and curse him using the Veil. Liliana was drunk on the power of the Chain Veil, and realized the opportunity she was presented with, immediately turned her Demon Lord into a pile of dust on the floor, only to realize extended use of the Veil would tear at her body, mind, and soul, but kept using it anyway. With Kothafed dead, Liliana would continue her search for answers regarding the Raven Man by going to Innistrad and also deal with her next Demon Lord, Griselbrand, which would bring her to encounter Garruk, who demanded she uncurse him, and after managing to get away, made her way to Thraben, which was thankfully for her being besieged by the Sassani siblings Gisa and Geralf, who had managed to kill the Lunarch Mikaeus. Liliana then proceeded to reanimate the dead Mikaeus and learn where Griselbrand was, in the Hell Vault. After weaving a spell around the prison, Vess gave the Cathar Thalia a choice: either unseal the Hell Vault, or she would kill her men. Thalia chose to let Liliana destroy the Hell Vault, freeing Griselbrand and Avacyn, which Liliana then proceeded to track down and kill her second Demon Lord. Following this, Liliana would learn she could not rid herself of the Chain Veil at this point. She'd become a sort of vessel for the Anak spirits trapped in the Veil. Feeling a little down, she returned to Ravnica to persuade Jace to help her kill Razaketh and Belzenlok, which Jace would choose to help Gideon with the situation on Zendikar instead. Upset by Jace's decision and the Raven Man yet again mocking her, Liliana would then return to Innistrad, where she would rest and inevitably help the Gatewatch with Emrakul, and even join the Gatewatch herself, using the group as a springboard to help her kill her remaining Demon Lords, which began with her helping them on missions on Kaladesh, and then on Amonkhet, Liliana would get her opportunity to kill Razaketh, and when confronted with Bolas, Liliana immediately dipped back to Dominaria, only to be confronted by Nissa, Chandra, and Gideon. The group split up, with Liliana and Gideon going together to find Gideon medical attention, and during this time the two grew closer than one thought they could, and after rallying the people of Benalia, Liliana successfully, with help, killed Belzenlok, and with the Gatewatch reassembled, the plan was made to meet on Ravnica, only to have Liliana's contract default to Nicol Bolas, its broker. Liliana was warned any slight made against Bolas would result in her own pact killing her, so she did as Bolas said and went with him. For the duration of the War of the Spark, Liliana was Bolas's general, commanding an undead army of the Dread Horde unwillingly. But Liliana made the choice to break the contract to save her friends. Liliana turned the army of the undead on Bolas, and her contract's punishment was activated. Liliana's skin turned to ashes, and as it did so, Liliana felt a hand on her shoulder. It was Gideon, who transferred to Liliana his invulnerability, and took the contract's effects on himself. Liliana was distraught and heartbroken by Gideon's death, and now, after everything with the war, she was wanted for her crimes at Ravnica and was being hunted by Teo Verada, and after tracking her down, decided to let Liliana go. From here, Liliana returned to Arcavios and became Professor Sephirina Onyx, a teacher, and sought to bring Gideon back to life, and after speaking with Beledros Witherbloom on the matter, decided it was best to instead honor Gideon and his sacrifice, and would defend the school from the Ulrich, and took a permanent position at the school, but was eventually found by the Raven Man, who tormented her dreams, so much so that Liliana returned home to Benalia, and after doing some reading, finally learned the true identity of the Raven Man as none other than the necromancer Lim Dull, and even found Marsil's ring that he was imprisoned in, and decided to hide it deeper in the Vess estate. Liliana would return to Arcavios and defend the school from the Phyrexians, but not before advising the Planeswalker strike team, and after finding out about Jace's fate, knew she had to defend Strixhaven, and did so by resurrecting an army of zombies from under the school. Liliana as a character is one of constant change, and has had to live two very different lives, and has only just put one of them behind her. I look forward to seeing what she does next. Thank you so much for watching, and may your revels never end.